Thank you all very much. It is both an honor and a privilege to be standing here this morning before you all. A little background, a couple days ago when my uncle first let me know that I'm going to be speaking this Monday, I was incredibly excited because he wanted me to speak on something that I love, that is fitness and nutrition. And I began preparing for this speech, and the more I prepared for it, the more it felt like a class lecture on kinesiology. And I felt it would be unfair if I would bore you all with that, because even though I love that, that would be like someone standing here talking about programming to you all, or cooking, or something that's not relevant to you all. And I wanted you all to be fully interested and to utilize the best of my time. I thought it would be more effective if I spoke on something that would actually resonate within you all. And that is something that I at first struggled with. I thought, what could I talk about that would really stick with them, and for them to really, give me all of their attention. And I know that you all are not going to remember verbatim every word that I say today, but I just want you all to remember how I made you feel today, because I think that's what's most important, not how I dressed or what I said, but how you all left, like what I left, what impression I left you all this morning with. My Uncle Lou is incredibly, he excels at uplifting and inspiring and motivating. And for me, that's something I want to be. That's something I want to mimic. Growing up, I wanted to be exactly like my Uncle Lewis. So when he gave me this opportunity, I wanted to do my absolute best. Yet at the same time, I thought it would be hypocritical of me to be trying to motivate and uplifting and inspiring people when I myself need that motivation and inspiration. I sometimes feel every day that I need to really beg God for the strength to go about my day. And from the beginning to the end of the day, I'm just like, God, please help me. Give me the energy that I need. Give me the strength to keep going. Give me the tools that I need to succeed. Because who here would disagree that life is hard? That every day is a struggle, right? You've got your bills and your responsibilities and your deadlines and the constant pressure just drilling you daily. So with that in mind, and a little background about myself, I'm, like Mongo said, crazy about fitness and nutrition. That's a reason that I'm like still alive, and that's what really keeps me going. And I'm really like kind of negative minded in a way that I'm very down on myself. It's hard for me to like accept a comment because I don't believe it. And when I see my Uncle Lewis, every single day helping everyone in their work first, and then once everyone's work is done, then he starts on his work. Then he goes home and plays father to his kids. Even though I know to the fullest extent that he must be completely drained, yet he still is able to pour himself unto others, despite that mental drain, despite running on oatmeal and oranges. He is able to make the impossible possible. And if that doesn't motivate you, I don't know what will. I asked God, how do I reach these people? What message can I proclaim to them that would really benefit them? Because I could stand here and talk about muscles and how acetylcholine will stimulate muscle contraction, and I can talk about how you guys need to stop eating so much bread and cheese and and donuts, and maybe go hit the gym once in a while, go to the pool, swim, but if you want a lesson in kinesiology, I think that would be best, for you to kind of seek that yourself, because that's an interest. Like, if I was a personal trainer and then I gave real estate advice to my clients, that's just a little irrelevant. So, although I love kinesiology, I did not want to waste my time. I wanted to utilize it. And with that being said, I think that what we all need to be reminded of is that we need that love in our life. Like, not like intimate love, that's important too. But love for yourself, but love for God first of all, because it's really His love that empowers me. It's really His love that gives me the confidence to stand here before you, even though I have a million butterflies in my stomach and my heart is racing. I want you all to know that first off, here at Culture State, you are loved and you are appreciated. And I feel a little guilty that I want like a break, but at the same time, even though I feel drained myself, I still want to serve others. I still want to serve my Uncle Lewis. I didn't come here to Jersey because I love New Jersey and I love social media and I love editing. But I love my Uncle Lewis with all of my heart. And that's what wakes me up in the morning and gets me dressed and gets me in the gym and, gets me on that computer and gets me through the day. It's that love that I have for my uncle and that desire to help him as best as I can, because he has that same love for all of you. He wouldn't be a good boss if he didn't. And I wrote something down that I wanted to share with you, because this is the lesson that I wanted to emphasize, that sometimes in our darkness and our tiredness, God calls us to pour ourselves onto others. And if you can pour yourself even though you feel drained, God will start a miraculous work inside of you, and you will be filled with an abundance of energy that'll keep you going. And I'd like to read Romans 15 that says, those who are capable should bear the failings of the weak. Now, I think we are all capable of so much more than we know. I will be the first to admit that I down myself constantly. Like when my uncle first called me up to come out here, I was like, that's like probably the stupidest thing you could do. Like, why would you ask your little stoner nephew to come and help you out with your business? Why would you not hire someone more professional? And I thought, a lot of times I think like, I kind of give up before I even try, because I think, what's the point if I'm probably just going to fail? But it's that same mindset that gets you nowhere. And then you wonder, why didn't things work out the way you wanted it? It's probably because you didn't give it your all. So that's why, even though I don't love what I do, I love my uncle. And because he gave me that chance, I have to give him my 200%. So when he asked me to speak before you all, I was reluctant. I said, man, I don't think anyone really wants to hear me talk. Like, I'm just a young, dumb kid. I don't even know anything. I'm sure everyone here knows more than I do, except when it comes to fitness and nutrition. I'm certified and have a degree in kinesiology on that, but I digress. I realized that, even though it may be a little hypocritical of me to try to motivate you all, even though I need motivation myself, I still feel that maybe I am like the perfect person to give this message, because if I'm able to motivate myself through the love of God, I want to spread that. I want you all to feel how I feel, because I know we all feel drained. I know I'm not the only one that's feeling and thinking this way, that I'm not good enough. I'm not charismatic enough to speak in front of people. I'm not confident enough. You just gotta rebuke those thoughts in the name of Jesus. And you got to tell yourself, through the Holy Spirit, I am empowered and capable to do so much more. I am stronger than I know. You are all stronger than you know. The strength is inside of you to overcome anything. And you just got to believe in that with all your heart. And I love how the Bible talks about principles like you reap what you sow. You will get what you give. That's like the law of the universe. Who here thinks that just waking up one morning you'll have everything that you want? My sister used to say, progress is a process, right? If you want something, you really got to work on it. My Uncle Lewis, he told me his first year in real estate, it was horrible for him. It was constant trial and error. And that's everything in life. You live and you learn. You learn from your mistakes. If you have the will to learn and the desire to better yourself, then you most certainly can. There's no reason why we can't be the people that we want to be. Growing up, I was a real scrawny, skinny, nerdy kid, and I wanted to be like a fitness model. I wanted that, and people would tell me that I would never have that. I would never, be strong and fit. But now not to blow my own horn, but I'd say my body is pretty amazing, and I can do a lot of high strength requiring exercises. And a couple years ago, I wouldn't even believe that myself, because the way I think is messed up. I'm so quick to down myself and doubt myself and think that I can't. But when I see my Uncle Lewis, I'm reminded that I can. Everybody can. And something else that I wanted to say is that it's admirable seeing him work the way he does. Even though it is a little concerning, it's very admirable. And I realize that, if you don't love yourself, how can you expect anyone to love you and respect you? So I would like for you all to try to implement that in your daily lives. Why I'm sure that you all didn't become real estate agents because you wanted to put on some fancy schmancy suit and discuss houses with clients and listings and learn about law and
fight traffic to try to reach these appointments on time. I'm sure that you all, became real estate agents because you wanted better for yourselves, and maybe you have loved ones at home that you want to give a better life to. You want to make a name for yourself, and I think we all want to leave a legacy behind that we did the best we could while we were here on earth, because we're not here for a long time. So I think it would be the wisest decision to make the best out of this opportunity that you have. Every single day is an opportunity that should not be wasted. It should be taken advantage of. That's why I pray to God that He forgive me if I ever wasted my time in Texas. I felt like nothing. I was just high all the time, and I reached a breaking point, like a realization that I can't continue to just waste myself. None of you should. I believe every one of you have the potential to be top sellers, to be whatever you want, a beautiful model or a power lifter or whatever, fighting champion or number one dad in the world, number one anything you want. The only thing holding us back is ourselves. And when I say that, I think of myself mainly, because I swear sometimes I am my own worst enemy. I'm just grateful to be here, because this for me is like awesome practice, to get my thoughts out and to build my speech skill. Because this is me really stepping out of my comfort zone, like my Uncle Lewis was talking about last week. While I was preparing for this, I called my mother and told her that my Uncle Lewis wants me to make a speech, and she just told me that don't bore them with all your knowledge that you have about fitness and nutrition. She said to try to open up with a joke. And I said, Mom, I'm not Joel Osteen. I'm not even a funny guy. My jokes are terrible, and I may be funny looking, and I get into funny situations, but I'm not funny. But for her sake, I'm gonna try anyway. So a Chinese man went to see his eye doctor, and the eye doctor tells him that he has a cataract. And he says, "No, doctor, I drive a Rinkin." All right.
Good job.
I know I've been rambling for a while, trying to kill a little time, because I didn't want to make this too short. And I feel my Uncle Lou has, I guess, more, maybe not more important, but like useful information for you.
Go easy on this ego.
So
I didn't pay him to write that.
So I just hope that all of you remember, when you're at your darkest moments of weakness and despair, that our Father in heaven, God, loves all of you, each and every single one of you, and so do I, with all of my heart. I want the best for all of you, and at Culture Estate, you will always be loved and appreciated. And I just want to leave you guys with a little homework, that today and every day, that you try to find the smallest act of kindness that you can show to somebody. Because you never know, like the tiniest gesture can leave the biggest impact on someone. My mother told me one time that when she was a girl in Guatemala going to school, there was this really runt-looking, scrawny kid who was kind of hiding from a distance, watching my mom eat this meal that she had, and she could feel the hunger in his eyes, she said, and she felt so bad for him that even though she was hungry, she was starving, she hadn't eaten yet that day, she knew that later on she would have some food, but she wasn't sure if he would. And to her, it wasn't much, giving him, I forget exactly what it was. I think it was like some garnachas. It's like tortilla and cabbage and a little meat or something, and like a little soda pop. And like 30, 40 years later, she goes back to Guatemala to visit her mom. And that same poor, scrawny kid was like a 6-foot beast of a man who was like well known in the village for being a rich guy with authority and power. And he sees my mother and he goes, Irodica, do you remember me? And at first she does not remember him at all. And he says, well, that's okay. You don't have to remember me, but I will never forget what you did for me. Giving me that little piece of food, that really like touched me. And for me, being here is just like that, because for Lewis, it's like not a big thing buying a plane ticket for me to come out here, but for me it is. It's a blessing to be here before you all, because I think back on my life, I really should be dead. Like a lot of times, I've almost been killed, and I think, God, why do you still have me here? Like, what is my purpose? And I strongly believe that all of us have a unique gift, a strength that we all should what and try to develop, because that's what gives us, I think, purpose. That's what gives life meaning, because we can't just go through life feeling drained all the time, feeling like, oh, what's the point of life? Life is beautiful. Life is a gift. You should appreciate it. Just like I appreciate my Uncle Lewis, and I appreciate this opportunity. And so I think I'm starting to ramble a little bit, but the important thing is that we all try to have a good heart, because there's too many bad people out there already. So before I start bursting into tears more, let me just wrap up with that you guys are great. You guys are awesome. You guys are stronger than you know. And don't doubt yourself like I do. I don't think I'm a very good motivational or inspirational speaker, but God is. God will give you everything that you want, because He cares about you. And I guess that's the reason why I desperately love serving others. My mom would say, stop trying to please everybody. Stop trying to, be like this perfect friend for everybody, because you can do 99 good things for somebody, and then this one tiny bad thing you do will erase all the 99 good things you did. So you'll never be 100% with everybody. But as a Christian, it's just my interest is other people's interests. Like I said earlier, I care very little for editing and recording and social media. I never had any Facebook or Twitter or anything while I was in Texas. But because my sincere desire is to see my uncle's business grow, I get on that computer and I edit my ass off. Even though I don't like it, I love my uncle. And that's why I want you all to give your 200%. Even though you don't find something interesting, if it will benefit you, give it your all and more.
Q&A, since you're such an expert. Guys, I swear it had nothing to do with this speech. This is all good. So Dan, while you're up there, I know that everybody here doesn't know you as well as I do, because obviously I raised you. But everyone's been through different experiences in life, and everyone contributes and brings something to the table. And I really think that it's important for people to understand that no two people are exactly alike, and everyone that goes through these struggles and these life-changing, altering events, it's only going to make you a stronger version of yourself, like was spoken about before. I think it's really great to stand up in front of everyone and blow them away, because I think going to tell us about nutrition and health, which she still can. But I really felt that the approach he took on it was something that meant more to him today than telling you guys how to eat right and get enough sleep and drink enough water. So Danny is definitely someone that I admire, even though he doesn't think I do, just because he is so honest, and he is like transparent. And sometimes I admire that, because sometimes I feel like I'm not, and I see things in him that push me, and him being by my side is almost like constantly having a mentor 24/7, or an accountability partner 24/7, just because I know that he's on the right path. And from the moment he left Texas, he made a promise to himself and to God that he would be that better person. And so far, I've seen nothing but good stuff come out of him. And the only thing that I do want to help him with is that he puts himself down. He doesn't think he's done enough or he's accomplished enough. And I tell him that that's a good sign, because anyone that's happy with what they accomplished is a conformist. If you're always pushing yourself and striving to do better, then it just means that there's nothing but good stuff coming up ahead of you. So I think Danny's a great example of that, and I open up the room to any questions that you guys might have for Danny, whether it be nutrition related, health related, or even how did you stop smoking weed? I don't care what you guys ask him. Like anything that you guys think is an appropriate question. And I think he did a great job with his presentation. I'm sure it's probably one of the first times he gets up in front of a group of people, but he knocked it out the park. Good job, Danny.
You sound like you're from Jersey already.
I'm glad I lost my country accent.
No, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's a little time and you've done it good. I think what you said was really important, because I feel like a lot of us have that struggle every day. We struggle with our own selves, and we are our worst enemies. So, we're all here to lift each other up. Like you said, we all have gifts, and I feel like we're all in this room because culture feels like home. A lot of us come from a different background, a different office, a different whatever in life. And everything feels like it just falls into place, and little by little I feel like we're all here for that reason. So I think what you said is really important, and it was good.
That's awesome. Anyone? Questions for Danny?
Question, Danny. So does this mean you have a Facebook account now? Where's my friend request? I'm very offended at the moment. Very offended at the moment.
I'm in the process of learning.
No, not acceptable.
No, he actually follows you. He followed you on Sanka Farms.
Oh, you did? What? See? Right path. Right path.
He loves your duck eggs, by the way. He's a big fan.
Oh, they're delicious.
I should have brought some.
Should have.
Yeah, well, I was running around cleaning their crap. Can I say that on TV?
Of course.
So now, question. You love biomechanics, so do I.
That's amazing.
What happens to someone that cannot use their QL?
QL?
Yeah.
Is that like the ligament? or QL?
Lumbar, quadrant.
The quadrant of the lumbar. Someone who can't use this.
No, it's a muscle. The QL.
So are they paralyzed or
No.
fired?
That's gonna be your homework. How about that?
Okay.
Because remember, a lot of us sit for a long time.
I thought.
So that's something that you should like really focus, because you could come up with a simple something for. Well, I don't sit a lot, but you know a lot of us do. So you guys love social media. You should have like little, rehab or anything, because a lot of people that you will encounter, we do office jobs, and that's going to be a big thing in your career. Just
That's a good message for real estate agents, where you can mix your knowledge then with what happens to them. You know, it's kind of like a mesh of the two worlds.
Well, he likes it. I'm done with it, so you got to pass on the torch, right?
Exactly. Anyone? Right.
I think you did a fantastic job. If I can, I wouldn't change anything. I think you spoke from your heart, and whenever you speak from your heart, you can't be wrong or right. It's just your experience. The only suggestion I would give you is stop putting yourself down. You gotta watch your words about yourself. You know, you're a rock star, and I think you should start telling yourself that. If you keep putting yourself down, this is just my opinion and my experience, your words become reality. So if you say you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, whether you believe it or not, the mind doesn't know the difference. It'll follow it. So I would change your thoughts, because honestly, you got me fired up. So you say you don't think you're a good motivational speaker. I'm ready to crush the day. I don't know about anyone else. Yeah. So watch your words about yourself. That's the only suggestion I would give. I wouldn't change anything else. You speak from your heart. You always do, like Lewis was saying, and I admire that about you. I think sometimes you might be too honest for some people. I love it. But I would just watch your words about yourself, because you're a rock star, and keep telling yourself that you're awesome, that you're smart, you're intelligent, you can do whatever you put your mind to. Change it to something like that instead of, I know I'm not a good motivational speaker, I'm really not this, that. Stop that. Cut that. That's garbage.
Yeah, perception is reality.
It's really good parent.
You're awesome.
You are.
Great job.
Great job.
Good job, Andy. You're awesome, baby.
I'll cut you free if no one else has
Dan, I'll send you a bill for that comment.
That one was scripted.
I'll be sure to tag you.
That one was scripted for sure. All right, guys. So let me. That was amazing. One thing that I forgot to have Danny do before he left the stage was, so like I mentioned earlier, these meetings are for you. They're for your growth, not for my ego. Like Harry said, this is not for Lewis. This is Culture Estate and everyone in it. Everyone here plays a vital part. There's no one here that's taken for granted. Everyone that'd be missing from here would, if anybody left today, they'd be sorely missed. Everyone is crucial. So with that being said, Danny's going to hand the baton to the next person for next week. Anyone who speaks here will have the ability to pick the person for the following week. And I don't want to hear my dog got ran over, or I'm sick, or I can't make it this week. I don't want to hear that. Everyone is here to grow. No one is here to criticize each other. Nobody here is perfect. So, Danny, I think that it'd be a good idea for you to let us know who you pick for next week.
So oh, did this stop? I think I stopped this by mistake.
You good? Are you stopped it?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? You like editing that much?
Hashtag stopping the voice recorder.
Did I break it?
Too. Why is it unplugged? Oh, this one.
Yeah.
You're recording. Go.
So, in my heart, I feel the next speaker should be my man Harry.
I already know it.
Because man, his energy, man, his words, they got power, and I think he's an awesome speaker himself. So I'd like to see what message he can share with us next week.
Yeah, Harry.
All right, absolutely.
Good job, man. Good job. Okay, guys, for the next 15 minutes or so,
Maybe I'm going on vacation, guys.
we have a guest speaker today who's going to help us out. And I'm sorry for saying 15 minutes, but I don't know how long these things usually go. We have a great guy who's not just a loan officer. He is a very spiritual person himself. Person's probably been through a lot. And this forum that we have here is to learn and grow from other people, whether they're from here or from outside one of our affiliates. So Manny, he's with Movement Mortgage, and he's going to give us his take on whatever he thinks is important to us to learn, and whatever he wants to share with us. So go ahead.
Oh, here. Yeah.
I didn't bring my books. I got some more in the trunk.
This is for you, bro.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem, I got you. Put this in your pocket.
Awesome.
Oh, thank you so much.
Are we on Facebook Live?
No.
Okay.
They know.
Buddy, what did you do here?
No, I'm just saying,
How'd you get to the screen?
Is it unlocked?
Oh, it's good.
Oh, okay.
I just throw that in your pocket.
Yeah.
Try not to hit any buttons.
Hi guys, how's everybody doing?
Fantastic.
I was told to come here and say hello, but I've been brought into the culture, so I gotta work with this. So my name is Manuel Gonzalez. I live just down the street. I'm from Greenbrook. I've been coming into this office pretty much since the construction has started. One of the things that motivated me the most was seeing Lewis's form of sharing on social media what it is that he's trying to build here. And one of the things that I strive on is constantly educating myself on things that differentiate us in the market. So, for example, like I read books on listing agents and how they can differentiate themselves. I read books on buyer's agents and how they can differentiate themselves with social media. I don't personally differentiate myself on the social media aspect of things because I feel that the business is all about making a connection. And I actually do it on a personal level. You know, it's very important to me. I don't do mass emails or, you know, anything of that nature. But I do study what it is that realtors do and the effective ones, what it is that their traits and habits are. I've been doing this for 18 years. I actually couldn't get a job at Starbucks serving coffee. This is all I know is mortgages. But one of the things that I've studied is the habits of the realtor and what it is that you guys are doing to be able to take your business to the next level. And one of the things that I'm finding that's more consistent is the relativeness and becoming completely vulnerable to your peers and to your audience. A lot of the times you'll find that realtors will come out, post something on Facebook, and then all of a sudden they disappear. Or they'll post everything on Facebook, which is fine too. But it's just being bold. It's not worrying about what you look like in the camera. You know, the many times people can see that. When I have a conversation with someone on the phone and it's somebody's client, a buyer's client, typically I'll have a conversation with them and I'm looking at my phone and I have it on camera mode so that I can actually see what it is that I look like because I know that they can hear that. So if I'm having a bad day or I've had a bad morning or my kids are sick or anything in particular, they can feel that. So I have to clear myself every single morning. And like many of you, right, I start my day. I have my affirmations. I wake up very early in the morning. I clear out my affirmations. I try to get to as many of them as I possibly can before I start my day. And then by 10 o'clock in the morning, I have to pick myself back up. My sister lost a son last year. He committed suicide at 18. So I call her every day at 10 o'clock in the morning and I have to bring her up. And it's been a tremendous challenge for me. And I feel like every 2 years something happens in my life that almost tests me. It tests my soul. It tests my spirit. 2 years ago my wife was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And with 3 children at home, multiple sclerosis is a lot of a challenge. Some people don't understand what multiple sclerosis is. They think it's just, you know, a cold. You know, her legs can get numb by 6 o'clock in the afternoon and I might have an application appointment. So I have to figure out a way to go home, give the kids a bath, and jump back on my computer and do what I got to do. So why do I share that stuff with you? Well, the gentleman who just spoke, you're right in front of me. The gentleman who just spoke inspired me because you know, you're saying that there's obviously challenges that we all face. And one of the things that I've noticed is that if you don't share your challenges with people and you don't share your journey with people, people don't get a chance to really know you. So I share my journey with everyone. If I catch you in an elevator in 5 floors, by the 5th floor, you know exactly who I am. And some people are very closed, and you can't be that way if you want to be in our business. You have to be completely open and vulnerable. So that's one of the things I do, is I'm just completely vulnerable. But one of the tricks that I have is I'm constantly studying what it is that you're all doing to become successful. I've been following Lim. I friend and like and smile and do everything that she's possibly on, constantly following that, because I'm inspired by her attributes and her motivation in this business. But one of the things I will tell you, and he hasn't been in the room once since I started talking, is that he has a very unique approach on how he does things, because he's actually doing it from the heart. And I can tell. There's a lot of agents that you'll see that they're doing exceptionally great, and they will not share with you what their strategies are. They won't do it. He will share with you what it is that he's doing, because he's having you guys all engaged in it. And I think that's pretty cool. And hopefully you don't outgrow yourselves. Hopefully you guys realize that you're a family here and you keep it going that way. But yeah, so I'll tell you a little bit about myself and a little bit about the business, and then we'll get into the small meat and potatoes about how I can help you all do better with your business. So started 18 years ago. I was 18 years old. It took me about 5 years to grow up. The first 5 years, I was in my early ages. I still didn't get the business. I didn't get where the message was. I didn't get what my why was. So once I determined what my why was, then I determined how my business was going to pick up. Children along the way definitely pushed me to, paying bills and having a mouth to feed definitely makes things different too. So 18 years in the business. I've owned 2 mortgage companies on my own. The 2 mortgage companies that I've owned did exceptionally well. The one struggle that I had was that I couldn't close loans on time because I was susceptible to the banks that were around me. 18 months ago, I was contacted by this company, Movement Mortgage. They said that they were coming into New Jersey. It's a Christian-based company. They didn't care about religions. We have all different types of cultures and nationalities in our company, but it's the fastest growing privately held mortgage company in the history of America. They've grown based on culture, which is obviously one of your name brands here. They've grown based on helping each other, and then at the same time, they've mastered the mortgage business. We fully process loans in 7 days, and when they said that they were coming to Jersey, they came out to me through one of my realtor partners and said, we would love for you to be a part of us and love for you to be one of the first people in New Jersey to start this company. So I started in the Northeast region, which was a big challenge for me because I've been in Somerset County now for 10 years. So I had built a brand for myself here in Somerset County, and I had to start from scratch and go back to my roots, which was Hudson County. And it's been the best thing that I ever did. I joined the company. They handle the whole process, and they give me an opportunity to be able to obviously spread the word and be of service to realtors. Now, what do I bring to the table that's different? I don't actually take applications. The majority of the loan process is done by a loan partner. So what they do is they allow the loan officer to structure the transaction and then be of service to the customer. The biggest disconnect you're going to find in our business is that the loan officer is very unavailable. The ones that are available, they're probably pulling their hairs behind closed doors because they have so much on their plate. When you delegate things, just like your business in real estate, when you start to delegate things, who does the contracts, who does the listings, who does the Facebook social media stuff, and you find what it is that you're good at and you get out of your own way, your business starts to flourish. So one of the things that I noticed is that I was in my own way. So when they came to New Jersey and they gave me this opportunity, I slowly realized that the support levels for me completely helped me do what it is that I'm best at. So I immediately pulled myself out of the transaction from the beginning, and now I'm involved in the transaction all around, which is more important to me because obviously your customer has to get a hold of me, and that's the most important thing. It also gives me an opportunity to study. This company is very big on education. We have a weekly, how often do you guys meet here? You meet once a week? Every Monday. So we have a weekly Friday call. All of the leaders get on the call. Right now we're following John Maxwell's structure. We're on our 3rd book with him. He's awesome. There's, because it's all about finding the leader within. And, I used to be really scared of talking in front of people. I was super scared. And what broke through for me was just finding what it is that was the story behind me that wouldn't allow me to feel comfortable talking to people. And then I realized what it was. It was because I was afraid of looking good. I was afraid. I was like, I got to look good if I'm in front of people because I want them to be able to be inspired or moved or touched by what it is that I say. But I'd rather get the message out. So my message is that I'm actually learning what it is that realtors are doing successfully, and there's a lot of traits I can share. I spend one-on-ones, and we do it constantly on a weekly basis. We can pick a day, and I spend that time with you, and I share with you what it is that's effective. Like when you guys went out to the school and you spoke to the school, I thought that was great. Why not educate the people that are growing up in this world that are going to rule? They're going to basically rule and control our future. Why not educate them on the real estate business and being self-employed and education in itself? So all of that stuff fascinates me, and I only have the opportunity to do that now because of this opportunity that I was given by this company, where I don't have to handle the actual processing piece because it's not what I'm good at. So many times as a realtor, you'll find that when you get out of the things that you're not good at and you start working on the things that you are good at, your business starts to flourish and it gets to the next level. So that's it. I really didn't plan on talking. I mean, I gave you guys an earful, but I have more books in the car. There's two types of books. One is differentiating yourself as a real estate agent if you are a listing agent, and then the other book that I brought was Social Media Strategies and Mastering. This gentleman is David Kelly's awesome. He's a coach on social media. There's a lot of tactics that people use because they see other people use it and they don't realize that there's certain little tweaks involved in between that really make it effective, because it's all about getting the message out properly. So I'll share more of those books with you guys. I'll even order more. I didn't realize you've been growing here, man. Yeah.
Stay up there for a minute, because I'm sure we have questions for you.
Sure.
Like, I have a question. How is it possible that moving mortgage and close a deal in 7 days when the standard is 45 now with the whole Dodd-Frank and all this other nonsense going on? How is it possible you guys get it done that fast?
I had the same question when I went out to Virginia, because I've known the mortgage business, or at least I thought I knew the mortgage business, and I thought that it wasn't possible. There's a lot of moving parts on a mortgage. The more that you get individuals involved in the process and you have it almost as a production line, the quicker that you get to the point. One of the things that you'll notice that companies do, like the cup you're holding in your hand, right? When that company first started, the first thing they wanted to do was make profit. But the only way to get to profit was to realize how to make the cup quicker, cheaper, but without ruining the quality and still getting the product out at in the same time frame. That's what Movement did. They started in 2008. It was two individuals. One individual owned a hard money lending company. The other individual was the vice president of National City, and he was really angry because National City told him, you got to close your doors. So picture what you're doing here, right? Where everybody's your family, and then somebody comes in, which they can't do in your business, but somebody comes in and says, hey, Louis, you need to fire 50% of these people by Monday. Today's Friday. And I need the list Monday. Corporate America, the bank world, right? That's why this company will never become a bank. We're a banker. We're the mortgage banker, so we lend our own funds, but we're not publicly held. We're not involved in checking and savings accounts. We don't want to be. We're in the mortgage business. So I went out to Virginia with the same question. How do they do a 7-day process? So what happens in the first 2 days is very crucial. Many times you'll find that a loan officer collects the documentation after you've found the house to the person. That's the wrong way to do it. That's the old school way of doing it, and it's not effective. The right way of doing it is collecting all the documentations before you go out and show houses, because your time is very valuable. And one of the things you guys do the most is waste a lot of time. You waste a lot of time with people. They call you on a Saturday morning. They want to go see houses. You had something going on with your kids or with your family. You got to scratch that. You got to go show these houses because they'll go with somebody else. But if you know that they're fully underwritten and ready to go, and I can close them in 7 business days after you find them a contract and you sign it, it's going to put you in a different perspective. So we fully underwrite the file in 6 hours. That's a mandatory goal from our company. It's not 4 days, 3 days. It's 6 hours. Sometimes it's an hour and a half, depending on the time frames. Everybody in the company has a laptop. Nobody has a desktop. So underwriters go home, they log in, they get paid overtime. So they're incentivized to underwrite files. I get mortgage commitments on Sunday, and we just submitted the file Friday at 7 o'clock at night. So the underwriter will underwrite it. So that gives us an advantage as well. The processors are incentivized to fully process the file in 3 business days. So by the 3rd business day, the processor already chased your customer, got all the documentation needed, followed up with me if anything was needed on my side, ordered the appraisal, ordered the verification of employments, everything is coming back. Another thing that we do is we do our quality control up front. There's times where you guys go through this whole process. You showed the customer 50 houses. You went through 90 days of process. Now you're getting ready to close, and all of a sudden, the bank decided that they came back with a quality control condition, whether it was an additional document from a tax return, an additional document from a bank statement. Now you can't close. Yep. It holds up the transaction. We do our QC up front. It's usually done by the 3rd day. So by the third day, pretty much everything is done. We're just waiting on appraisal, title, and your customer to get homeowner's insurance. And if it's a condo, we have a condo department with a legal department that supports the condo department to get the condo process done as well. So we have departments after departments to make sure that cup is done in 3 seconds flat. And it's just how they broke the process down. So they did this in 2008 when they opened up the company. They started off as a New American Mortgage. It turns out that there was another lender in California with that name. So they scratched it out. The owner said, what do we want to do? How do we want to change the name to? And the one owner, who's very Christian and actually is not involved in the mortgage part, he's involved in Movement of Change Foundation. He builds churches all over the country. We've built 11 churches in Guatemala. We've built churches all over the country. At this particular moment, I think we're at like 60-something churches. And then he's also built the Movement of Change Foundation to do charter schools. He wants to educate the individuals. That's why you guys inspired me with the education piece. They actually are starting the first movement charter school, which I posted on my Facebook page because I was so inspired by, in North Carolina, to the underserved children, and giving them a charter school that's affordable through the state and giving them the process. So it's not just a mortgage company, but they broke the process down to be stress-free. I have absolutely no stress whatsoever. All my loans close on time. Some loans close in 14 days, and I'm trying to figure out why they took so long. And of course, typically it'll be because the customer just didn't have what we needed, or there was an appraisal issue, but it's 14 business days. We're done the same month. My realtors will sign a contract and they'll text me and they'll say, hey, I'm putting this closing for May 5th and today's the 24th. And I'm like, okay, great. Why so long? Why can't we be clear to close by Thursday? Because we could do it. We just have that process. It's not just the loan officer doing everything. So when I finally got out of my own way and I stopped the voice in my head from hearing the already always listening, like nobody can do it, and I actually saw the process, it made me feel more comfortable, and I made the right decision. Especially the FHA and stuff like that. We are super fast with that. Yeah, because those are the buyers that want everything. They're not like...
Guys are closing so fast, there's really no need to pull credit again before closing.
No.
Because that's what happens sometimes is that you catch a client who goes out and gets a car loan or gets a credit card at Macy's to save 10% and then it kills the loan. So you guys are basically so quick, there's no need for a second credit report.
Yeah, and we give... When I have the first conversation with the customer, and I could do this with each individual, like I could share it with you guys, like what it is I'm doing. Because some people like that. Some people want to be involved in the whole thing. So when I have the first conversation with them on the phone, I'm sharing a video with them because you got to realize you just met this client, right? But he still doesn't believe he can be a home buyer yet. Just like if I just met him, I really can't believe that I could lose 50 pounds yet. But the moment that he shows me how it is that he's going to do it, and I actually visualize myself making smarter choices when I eat and drinking a certain amount of water and controlling my body, I'm going to become a person that lost weight. It's the same thing with a buyer. The moment you have a conversation with them, you were referred to them by Judy, who you just closed a transaction for. Judy's a home buyer, but your client's not. So they don't visualize that they are the quarterback in the transaction. The moment that you have the conversation with them, you gave them some sort of a spark and interest. But when they start to see the videos that we share about the process, the do's and don'ts, the 5 biggest mistakes buyers make, the process of the actual transaction, how it works, what it is that we need to do to hand you the keys, those videos, they inspire them and keep them motivated. They don't just not hear from me. You're never going to hear your client say, oh, I haven't heard from Manuel in a month. No, they're going to say, I hear from him pretty much every week. And sometimes multiple times per week, because I'm in touch with them because I have that opportunity. I'm not completely involved in every single aspect of the transaction. So that's kind of how it works. But as far as and there's nothing being sacrificed here. Interest rates are phenomenal. Our process is just one of the parcels. We don't have excessive bank fees. We don't have a minimum loan amount. I have a loan right now for $62,000. I've probably spent more time with her than anybody else. But she referred me her daughter immediately after. She's like, I can't believe my daughter's going through all this trouble with Wells Fargo. You got to reach out to my daughter and talk to her. She's pretty far along the process, though. I don't know if you could work it out and make it work for her. And I said, no, actually, I can make it work faster than Wells Fargo can because they got another 30 days left on their transaction. So, it makes a big difference. And I don't ever recommend being the only referral source either. Your clients don't always get along with certain processes. Some clients are very sloppy. They don't want to get all their documentation together. They need a little bit more hand-holding. That's where I come in and I could be really of service. Some people are very electronic. Our company can come in of service to that electronically. But some people we don't make a connection with, right? That's why there's different strokes for different folks. But I always recommend to be at least one of the people that you refer, because obviously, you want your client to have some options.
Do you speak Spanish?
Yo hablo español y yo hablo portugués.
Okay. Do you do healthy happy hours for us?
Of course. Absolutely. That very, very important to recharge the batteries.
For us?
Very important to recharge the batteries.
What percentage of your loans close?
92%. And 87% of our loans are fully processed in 7 days. And I can show that to you. It's on my phone. That's another thing too. They keep us that's big, keeping our stats and, A+ submissions. We can't submit a loan with one tax return and one pay stub. We got to submit it with exactly what was required, because the underwriter is required to underwrite it in 6 hours. And she'll put it in not ready if it's missing a bank statement. We can get it through, but she'll put it in not ready just because she wants to give me a fully underwritten file, and she knows she's responsible for her name being on that commitment. So, yeah.
Of the 8%, what are the biggest challenges for those customers?
Documentation to us. Credit scores is not really an issue. When we have a credit score issue, we use this program that we can actually click on the actual transaction that they have that's bad and see if we can dispute it. And if we can dispute it, it'll give us an immediate response. We don't have to call companies. Oh yeah, we do everything on the credit process too. And then another thing too that was pretty neat, when the customer's applying on our website, we have an easy app, right? So they put in their information as they get to the point where it says income, it says who do you file your taxes with? And if it happens to be one of these online softwares, they click on it and it takes them to turbotax.com. They put in their information and it downloads their tax returns on right then and there. They don't have to send them to us. Same thing when they get to their assets. It says, who do you bank with? Bank of America, ISB, PNC, Wells Fargo, Chase. You click on it, it takes you to chase.com, and it's a blend software. So the moment you put in your credentials, it takes your bank statements too. But I get them first. So if they have a deposit that was off that we don't have to show because there's no reason for it, or something that doesn't necessarily work well with the loan transaction, I catch it first. So even though it's blended, it's only blending the image of what's going on. The actual inside of the bank statement, I will look at it and say, hey, you know what? Take these bank statements out. I'm not going to submit them to the underwriter. Let's get a gift from your mom for the whole transaction. You give her back the money. Because that deposit you made of that treadmill you sold on Craigslist, we can't source that. And I get that stuff all the time too. It causes big delays. But a loan officer doesn't have time to do that kind of stuff. Why? Because they're doing everything. They get to that point where it's just like you're doing 5,000 different things. You guys are all here. You're all posting things on Facebook. You're all writing contracts. You're all pulling listings. You're all making appointments on the listings, and you have to make them strategically behind each other because you don't want to take your clients all over Scotch Plains. You want to do it in a sense like you know the town, right? How about if you had people that did certain things like that? How much more effective would you guys be if you had certain things delegated? It's so important. So, makes a big difference.
One of the biggest questions I always get is who's going to be the best interest rate? How would you respond to?
We never lost a deal to rate.
Yeah.
When a customer asks what's the rate, they really don't understand what they're asking. When Lewis went to go buy the Tesla, he didn't walk in there and say, hey, what's it going to cost me for the tint? He just asked, specific questions based on what he knew, and then it was up to the professional to explain to him the things that were important on the car and the features that were really going to take it to the next level. When a customer asks me what's the rate, I tell them, are you asking me the interest rate for today, or are you asking me the interest rate for when you have a fully ratified contract? Because we can't lock you in until you have a ratified contract. So the interest rate today, it's 3.9%. 30-year fixed, 20% down, 740 credit score. Let's go over your details and let me see how close I can get you to that. Oh, well, I'm putting 5% down and my FICO score is 500. Okay, well, we got to work on your credit. because obviously your FICO score is not going to work. Our minimum FICO score is 580. And that's another thing too, we have no overlays. So if a customer has a 580 credit score and they have a few blemishes on there and their income is not tight, most lenders will not approve that because they go based off of direct underwriting. It's called DU. They run DU, and if DU says yes, they go. If DU says no, they don't go. We go a little step further than that. We have a loan committee that comes in and looks at DU why it's not running, and if the customer can fix the few problems, we can close the loan. So it makes a big world of a difference. So the interest rate question comes up all the time.
Great.
Yeah, but we just address it by explaining what it is the process is. Because there's companies out there like Quicken and stuff like that. There's no loan officer on the street. It's all based out of Michigan. They'll give you an interest rate and they'll lock you in when you get a contract. But they gave your customer a low interest rate and you have there's really no education behind it. Your customer doesn't know what the rate consists of. So they're going for something based on just pricing. You know, it's like when you guys get that question, oh, will you drop your commission to 1%? There's, ABC lenders out in North Newark said they would do it for 1%. You're like, well, what are they offering you for 1%? Are they just a transactional broker and you got to go with the listing agent to all the houses? You're never going to find a house. Let me explain to you why I get paid what I get paid. I spend all of these hours doing the research. I check on Garden State and all these MLSs. I put all these tours together for you. I understand what it is you're looking for. I have a conversation with the sales agent. I negotiate on your behalf. When I'm having a conversation with the sales agent, I'm making her feel like it's a very good transaction for her. Because another thing too is, you buyer's agents want to be successful, you have to relate with that seller's agent. Because she's either going to try to go with if she's ethical, forget about what I just said. But if she's not, she's going to try to go with the client that's going to be the path of least resistance. She wants to get paid. So one of the things that I notice is my clients come back to me all the time and they go, oh, I got outbid it again. Well, why did you get outbid? Oh, she told me to offer $415 and I offered $327. Well, she told you to offer $415 for a reason. She's done a study on what it is that's going to effectively get you this property. She told you what to offer and you didn't offer it. Then the second time around, they're all yours because they automatically realize the value of what it is that you're telling them to do. And but when you have a loan officer that understands, like I know I've told you guys a lot of things about the real estate transaction that you're thinking, how does he know all this? It's because I've been studying you guys, not you, realtors. I've been studying it. I know what your struggles are. I know what it is you go through. When you have somebody on that side that's having a conversation with your customer, it's like I'm another you. I'm reflecting and reinforcing your relationship with your buyers. It makes a big difference. It saves you a lot of time and trouble.
Do you offer commercial HELOCs?
I have a good contact for that. Yeah, we're a residential lender, but we do have a contact for commercial. We have portfolio too, so like if there are certain things that we can't specifically do, we have a portfolio bank that can do it. We'll pilot with them and we'll do it. Like, a $5 million deal in a loft in Manhattan that just, is not even approved. It's a portfolio transaction. We can do it. I'm actually doing one right now. That's why I set the example. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. I was more than, thank you.
All right, guys, let's continue so we don't lose any time. All right. So guys, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is that I've been doing a lot of work with auction.com, and they gave me some really exciting news recently. They're going to be expanding their meetings to just from Hudson County now to a couple of different other counties. So they're going to be also utilizing different spaces, and they asked me if they can hold their meetings here as well. Wow. So this is here. So this is like an incredible, really, really good opportunity for you guys, because this place is going to be full of investors. And if anyone's been to the one in Hudson County, you guys know that there's like upwards of like 50 people that show up to these things. So it's a great opportunity for you guys, and it couldn't come at a better time now that we just expanded the office and we have a new conference room where we can, accommodate a lot more people. I just want you guys to really, really now start to really polish yourselves when it comes to investors and knowing the market and understanding different, investor questions. So there is a document, there's a disclosure that I created a few months back that not too many of you guys are familiar with. You guys aren't that familiar with, and I want to explain it today to you guys, and I also want to explain to you guys again how an exclusive buyer's agreement works, right? So we're going to dive right into this document that I gave you guys, and I'll explain to you how we can utilize what we already have, the resources that we already have, in order to service these clients that are going to be buying either on auction.com or at an auction at a sheriff's sale. Because a lot of people don't know, I didn't know either, but auction.com actually gets paid to market properties that even go to the sheriff's sales, not just on their online portal. They don't cover 100% of all the properties that go to the sheriff's sale, because then that would be considered a monopoly. So they're given a large portion of them, but not all of them. So auction.com wants to give us a beta program that they're not offering anyone else, that no matter where the property is sold, whether it's online or whether it's in the sheriff's sale, if we bring someone to that event, we can get paid a commission even if a commission is not offered. And that's on top of a commission that we might already be in contract with them for. So it's going to be, and they're beta testing this with us and one other company in Texas. So this is a crazy, crazy opportunity for everyone here. So put on your investor realtor hat and really we can make some money with this stuff. No one's going to have this kind of advantage. They're constantly giving me lists that are going to be being discounted, so they're always giving us heads up on properties. So this is good stuff for you guys to start understanding how it works, so we can capitalize off of it. Okay, so I'm going to go through this disclosure with you guys. I want you guys to study it on your own. So that way when you explain to a client, you're not reading off the paper, you're explaining the paper. Okay, there's a big difference. When you read off a paper, people think that's your first step. So with the first point that we have here, the buyer acknowledges that purchasing a home through an auction is an as-is sale. There's a lot of newbie investors out there who don't understand this concept. An as-is sale means that it could be an underground oil tank, there could be $100,000 stashed in a wall somewhere. Whatever's in that house,
Except for that, no, that's
whatever's, yeah, that's alright if it's in the wall. Whatever's in that house is there. So it's buyer beware. You understand? There is no take backs. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. There's none of that. So they have to completely understand that when they buy a house from an auction, whether it's online or whether it's in person, that there is no canceling the contract because of the condition of the home. Now, if they can't get a hard money loan or whatever the case is that they were going to go for it, a lot of times that's not going to let them out either. So they could be risking their deposit. You know, they might have to go to mediation in court. They might have to do a lot of things in order to get that thing back. By the time they get their money back, it could be years. So if they get it back. So make sure they understand that as is means as is. And that's the first conversation you should be having with them. Number two, that the buyer acknowledges that it could be an underground storage tank. And culture, estate, and the salesperson cannot make any representations regarding the matter. Now, a lot of my clients, I tell them that, look, I will visually go there and inspect to see if I see any pipes, if I see any caps, but I can't guarantee there's not a tank there, but I can tell you if there's any obvious sign. If the home is occupied and I can't get in, and I can't go downstairs to the basement to see if there's any copper lines, you know, there is really no way for me to give you a real good, feeling as to where if there's a tank or not. And what I do is, if they ask me, Louis, is there any visible signs? I say, no, there are no visible signs that I can see, but it doesn't mean that there isn't one. So if you really like this house, let's get someone out there to do a quick tank sweep, you know, and that alleviates a lot of the issues. So make sure you understand this, because a lot of things you can't see are going to be the underground storage tanks. This is going to be one of the major issues in Jersey. You guys know a lot of the homes have them. Okay, so number three, buyer will give the salesperson a hard limit to bid on any given property. The salesperson will not in any instance go above the said limit unless specifically requested by the buyer in writing. So if you're going to go represent your client at a sheriff's sale, or if you're going to represent your client on a online sale, and they tell you, look, the most I want to go in this house is 200, and I suggest you get that in writing as well, whether an email, text message, or somewhere in writing. Then what you do is you know that you're going to be bidding for this person up into that amount, and make sure that they know that if it's 200 all in or 200 plus the buyer's premium, because sometimes there's a 5% buyer's premium that makes that offer now 210. So make sure you read the fine print before you guys agree on a number. So if that's the number, then that's the only number you're going to go to. And if you lose, and I've lost properties by $1,000, then so be it. You know, you can't make those decisions for your client unless they tell you to. So make sure that that's understood. A deposit is required within 24 hours if the buyer's bid is accepted on online auctions. So if they win their auction, within 24 hours they need that deposit right then, you know, as a wire to the attorney or to the title company that's holding that money. Not to us and not to our attorney, but to the seller's attorney or the seller's title company. A credit card is required to submit a bid, and a hold is placed on the card and is only released a few days after the auction ends, regardless of the turnout of the auction. So whether they win or they lose that auction, that's going to be held. And once it's determined whether they won or lost, then it'll get released. So it's a hold. So if they have a $2,500 limit on their card, and the auction is $4,500, that means that they're not going to be able to go and pay for groceries, gas, or anything else with that card. That's the only thing they're going to be able to do. So make sure you understand that. If the auction is live, then the buyer must submit the required deposit to the salesperson 24 hours prior to the auction taking place. So if there's an auction on a Wednesday, like there is in Union County, we need that money by Tuesday. Because if you're doing all your due diligence on the day of, and you still got to collect the deposit, you're going to be late. There's no way you're going to make it on time to these things, and I've learned the hard way. So deposits must be made out to the appropriate sheriff's department in which the auction will take place. Any excess deposit will be kept by the sheriff and credited towards the balance of the purchase. You guys understand that? So if it's Union County Sheriff, Essex County Sheriff, it has to be made out to them. Okay? Culture Estate cannot make any representation on unpaid taxes, liens, or utilities for any property acquired through an auction sale. It is the sole responsibility of the buyer to obtain title insurance and to conduct due diligence on any property that they may have an interest in buying. So if there's a property on 123 Main Street in Elizabeth that they absolutely love and they want to get it, you will have to tell them that, listen, I'm going to go and I'm going to make an offer for you, but I'm not going to find out about the utilities, the water, or anything else until the auctioneer actually states it before the auction, or you can call the town right now and figure out if there's any unpaid stuff. You can kind of, just guide them in that way. So if they want you to offer $200,000, this is where you got to think quick. If you're going to go represent them at a sheriff's sale and you want to offer $200,000 all in, there may be $5,000 in unpaid utilities. So does that mean it's $200 plus the $5,000, or is $200 already inclusive of those liens? You got to have these conversations with your client, so you don't, there's no guessing games. And it's nerve-wracking enough as it is to make an offer at a sheriff's sale. When you don't have your stuff prepared, it's even worse. So make sure that you guys understand that. Sheriff sales require the buyer to pay the balance on the 11th day after winning a bid. A per diem will be charged every day after. In the event the buyer does not close the transaction within a reasonable time frame, they can risk losing their initial deposit. So do you guys understand that? Within the first 10 days of your sheriff sale at the auction, they have what's called the right of redemption, which in that time period they can file bankruptcy, they can pay off their loan, they could do a number of things they could really jeopardize that transaction. Once that 10th day is gone, then on the 11th day, the sheriff expects you to close. So if you don't close on an 11th day, then they start charging a per diem each day after. Now, there's no set time in which you have to close that deal, but if you start taking too long, then they will start to send you letters stating that they're going to take you to court to keep your deposit. So make sure that your clients understand that as well. Alex, you got something to share about that?
So with the 10-day redemption period, is that 10 consecutive days or business days?
That's a good question, because I wasn't sure of that either until Lim and I actually encountered something like that, and it's 10 days,
Correct.
not business days. Number 8 says, buyer acknowledges that homes purchased through an auction are not guaranteed to be vacant. It is the sole responsibility of the buyer to check occupancy of any property. If the property is not vacant, the buyer is responsible to conduct the proper legal procedure to gain vacancy. What that means is that if they buy a home and it has the old owner in it, then they have to file what's called an ejectment. That's a little easier than would it be for eviction. Sorry, guys. For an eviction, because evictions, tenants have a lot of rights in this state. Not as much as they do in New York, but in New Jersey they still have a lot of rights. So what happens is, if that person had a lease and they are willing to keep paying you on that lease, you have to accept it. There's no way you can get rid of them unless they start violating terms of the lease. So make sure your clients understand this, that when they're buying a home with people in it, if it's the buyer, if it's the old owner, they're okay. They're probably in good shape. They probably get them out in 30, 60 days. But if it's a tenant, and the tenant starts to do everything that the tenant's supposed to do with a valid bona fide lease and a card, even if they don't have a lease, you have to give them the option to lease from you. So it could get very complicated. So at that point in time, it may take a little coercion from your buyer to make sure that they move out. You might want to offer them cash for keys or give them another place to relocate to. It could be a number of different options. So make sure you guys explain that to your clients before they buy anything. Access to the property is not guaranteed for financing purposes. Buyer is aware that the deposit may be lost if they are not able to obtain financing or access funds to close the transaction. So if they're financing or they're lending is contingent on them getting an appraisal on his home, and he can't get inside, or the place gets rekeyed and you can't get access to it, they may not be able to get their loan. So make sure they understand that if that happens, they could lose their deposit. So they have to always have a plan B. Okay.
Sorry, can you say that again? 'Cause,
Sorry. Yeah, so if you can't gain access to the house to get their appraisal done, if they're thinking of doing hard money, then they could lose their deposit because it's not really, the sheriff's not going to care, the attorney and the courts are not going to care that you couldn't get in because the only way you could buy it is with hard money. So either you make sure the property is vacant and accessible, or you make sure that the people living there will give you access. So that's the only way your client can actually get an appraisal done in that place. There are some hard money lenders that don't require appraisals, but that's very seldom. So just make sure that they always have an option B to go to in the event that you can't get in. Eric?
So that's one of the first things you should find out, starting at square one.
Absolutely.
The access and if they'll let you.
Exactly.
Get the, okay.
I'll get to all that, and I'll get to the point where we are value-added people in a transaction, because I want to explain this to you guys first. On the opposite side of the form, guys, the culture estate cannot guarantee profitability. This is really important for you guys to drill in your head. We cannot guarantee profitability on any auction sale purchased by the buyer. Resale price of a property is determined by market conditions and the condition of the home at the time of marketing the property. So what that means is that if we can give the client comps today saying they can sell the house for $250,000, right? We're not giving them a guarantee. We're giving them current statistics. Now, if next week we have another meltdown and everything goes to hell, then that may not be 250 anymore. Now it might be 150, 200, who knows? So we're never guaranteeing them what they can sell it for. We can only tell them what the properties are going for at the moment. Now, if the work that they end up doing, if they're a newbie investor and they do the worst renovation you've ever seen, then that's not a 250 house anymore. That's a patch job that's probably going to maybe get 200,000. I'm just giving you examples. So you got to let them understand that you don't have a crystal ball. You don't know how their work's going to turn out. You don't know what conditions may happen in the market, but as of right now, these are the conditions for renovated homes, or these are the prices for homes that are wholesaled in this area with this square footage. Whatever you guys need to give them, and make sure that they understand this right now. 11. As terms of the agreement, buyer will list the sale of the property when prepared to sell said property. The amount of the commission will be due as follows. So what this means is that for us helping them get these transactions, they are going to be committing to us and giving us the listing back, right? That's the least they can do, because I know people that do this and they charge them up front when they buy the house. You understand? They charge them when they buy the house and they get the listing too. You guys are welcome to do that. If you think that your buyer is not going to be loyal to you to give you the listing back, you can charge them to get them to acquire a property from a sheriff's sale or on an online sale. There's no problem with that. But just know that sometimes it sits better with the client to know that you also have skin in the game. And you're going to get paid when they make money too. So that's another thing for you guys to keep in mind. Now, I don't suggest that anyone make any less than $10,000 on a transaction like this. $10,000 or 3%, whichever is higher, will be due to culture estate. If sold by a cooperating agent or agency, an additional 2.5 commission will apply. So what this means is that when they're getting prepared to sell this home, they will need to sign a listing agreement, or prior to, they need to sign a listing agreement that says commission will be $10,000 or 3%, whichever is greater, plus 2.5% to an outgoing brokerage. So what that means is that if you're guaranteed your $10,000 because you actually did all the due diligence, you did all the work, and you found this person the home, right? If you don't sell the property, let's say Bill from down the street sells it, then we still have to pay Bill a commission, but it's not coming out of our $10,000. It's coming out of a 2.5% out of his proceeds. So if you sell it yourself, this is a real payday for you guys, because you're still guaranteed your $10,000, and if you still sell it yourself, that's an additional 2.5% of whatever that property sells for. So this could be a huge payday for you guys, as long as it's a win-win. You don't want to be the only person winning in a transaction, because your client will feel very used and feel like that you took advantage of them. So you want to make sure that when you first make a decision to bid on a property with your client, that you're making sure that if you were in their position and you were in their shoes, you would make the offer too, because you want to make sure they make money. You understand? You want to make sure they even make more money than you. So make sure that when you guys pick a good property, to not just have your interest in mind, to also make sure that you're considering that your client could lose money on this deal or if it's a profitable looking deal. Keep that in mind. Number 12, in the event the buyer is purchasing a property to keep, a buyer's agreement will be executed outlining the amount of the commission due to culture estate. So if you have a client that likes to buy and hold properties, no problem, we can help them with that, but they will have to sign a buyer's agreement that states that they will have to pay us $10,000 at the time of us being able to lock down that property for them. We don't have to wait for them to close on the deal because that's not our responsibility when they close. Our responsibility is to make sure we put them in a position where they can close on the deal. Now, for whatever reason, if the deal doesn't close because of title issues, that commission will be held in escrow at the office until it does consummate, but at least we know that the money is in our account and we can disperse it once everything is said and done. When purchasing a property, a buyer's agreement and consumer information statement will be executed by buyer and sales associate. Additional terms may be outlined in the buyer's agreement, which are beneficial to both the buyer and the client. The client and the brokerage. So what this means is that we're still representing people in a capacity, so keep in mind that a CIS is necessary, so they understand that we're representing them as a buyer at that point, okay? And we also need this disclosure signed and a buyer's agreement if we're doing a hold, just a hold, not a resale. Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys. I don't know if you guys have any questions on this before I explain to you where we come into the picture. I know I covered a lot pretty quickly. I know some people are more seasoned here than others, so I don't want to bore you guys to death with some of this stuff. But do you guys have any questions so far on what we covered, and then I can move on to the next thing?
For the deposit, you said it's 24 hours. The car stays on hold, right? Do you the deposit comes out of that card? Is that how it works?
For an online auction,
Yeah.
you need to register them for the bid.
Okay.
Right, the day before usually, or try not to do it the same day of because it's just too much stuff to do. Their credit card will be held, and it will hold a deposit of at least $2,500, depending on which portal you use.
Charged.
Yeah, it will be held, so they will not be charged, but held. So depending on what portal they use, auction.com holds a $2,500 deposit. Some other online portals hold less, but when we're dealing with auction, then that's what it is. And if it's with sheriff sales, you guys know you need the certified checks, no personal checks, meet out to the sheriff, the day before. Try to have them break it up into pieces. That way you don't leave too much money behind. So if they want to bid on a house that's $200,000, that's 40 grand. Time to get you a check for one for 30, one for 5, and then 5 singles. That way, if it comes out for 180 and 190, you don't leave 40, and you can just leave 30 something. So it's pretty simple. I know some of you guys probably didn't know that we had this disclosure because me juggling so many things, I forget to disperse these documents as new people come on board. So I hope that this will help you guys be able to get more clients and more investors. For those of you who are new and don't have that much experience working with investors, working with these investors is a very good thing, and it's very profitable, and it's a good use of your time, because working with first-time home buyers, they could be looking around and they're very skeptical buyers. They're very scared. You should limit yourself to how many buyers like that you're going to work with, because investors are great because they make decisions sometimes without even seeing the home. So you got people that make decisions purely based on numbers and location and profit. So it's good to utilize them, because I've sold homes that I've never even shown. I've just sent them the information. They're like, I want it. It's done deal. And I'm reselling a home right now in Raleigh that I still haven't seen. It's just crazy how these things can work. So it's a good use of your time. Make sure that you have a good pool of investors, that you nurture them, that you're always giving them stuff, even if it doesn't stick. As long as they know you're thinking of them, that's the important thing. And they know that you're always constantly getting inventory. It also looks good because they know they're working with the right person. So get yourselves a good group of guys like that, and then you guys will definitely have something to look forward to. But I don't suggest you do all investor, because there will come a time when the market is not pro-investor, and then you guys are going to have to reinvent yourself. So always have a good mix of everything. Did anything come out of that printer? Because I'm waiting for her to print out the exclusive buyer's agreement.
Some came out before.
Yeah.
Earlier.
Can you ask her if she printed out the exclusive buyer's agreement?
Joelle?
Yeah, please.
Chris,
Yes.
can we have an investment training class on people that aren't familiar with
Absolutely.
investing?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to, I'll send out an email to everyone in the office and to see who would be interested in attending that. We'll set it up. Yeah. So getting back on investors real quick while we figure out what's going on with the exclusive buyer's agreement. With investors, you want to utilize this document that I just spoke about, the buyer's agreement. There are two types of buyer's agreements. There's an exclusive buyer's agreement, which you guys should utilize with your home buyers that are like buying a home with you for the first time, or people who are moving up. You want to make sure that you have that, because you don't want them to go into an open house or go to for sale by owner and cut you out of the equation, right? So by signing this, they understand that they're working with you exclusively unless you don't fulfill your obligations to them. And when you explain this to them, make sure that you're showing them that it's a benefit to them, not just to you. Of course, it outlines your commission. Of course, it outlines that they're not going to work with another agent. But it also outlines that you're supposed to treat them with fairness, due diligence, make sure that you present all offers. There's a lot of responsibilities that we are going to be on the hook for as well. So everything and anything in life is all about the presentation. If you present this document in a way where it's a plus and it's an added benefit to them, they'll have no problem signing it. I used to be the only one in my second real estate company that I worked for that used to use this form, and the lady at the front desk used to always say, "How is it that you're the only one able to get people to sign these things?" And what I did was I just sat down, I read it, and I understood it, and I said, how can I use this as a benefit to them as opposed to a benefit to us? And once I was able to explain that, no one had a problem signing it, everyone signed it. Now the thing you have to understand is a buyer's agreement needs to be signed either before or at the same time that you're preparing a contract. At the same time you're preparing a contract is almost a little late in the game, because at that point, you're kind of hoping that all the work that you did before that wasn't in vain. So the first time you meet with them, you should be in the office, you explain to them how you work and how you value your time and their time, and you get them to sign a CIS and you get them to sign the exclusive buyer's agreement. When you're working with an investor, it's a little different, because you can't expect an investor to only work with just you, because they're investors. They don't have a cap on money sometimes. They don't have a cap on availability of partners sometimes. So what you get them to sign is a non-exclusive buyer's agreement, which basically outlines the same thing. You're going to get paid. If you find them a property, you're going to represent them in your highest capacity, and they're also going to treat you with fairness, and they're going to let you know about any properties that they might be interested in buying with you. So that's the difference between an exclusive buyer's agreement and a non-exclusive buyer's agreement. So has anyone here in this room ever used a buyer's agreement with anyone before? Okay. Sorry, can you give me a quick experience on how it works?
Yes, we have to, it's a requirement of our office to actually use exclusive buyer's agreement.
Yeah.
And whenever we meet the client, we're supposed to introduce the exclusive buyer and do a complete assessment of what is the need and what exactly they are looking for to be able to help them.
Correct.
And prepare, and we let them know. In our size, they don't have to pay us, because when we sell the house, the seller will pay off. They gonna pay us, but we want the commitment to us.
Correct.
That's the same way we're gonna represent them, and we're gonna fulfill their need and find them the qualified home for themselves. We want that commitment that when they're gonna buy from us.
Nice.
And that's what we explain.
Awesome. All right, I don't know what's going on with the printer and why we're not getting a copy of this exclusive buyer's agreement, but what Sonia said is true. The seller is the one that's paying for the commission 99% of the time, but there are times that the clients come to us and they want to buy $80 or $90 or $100,000 house, right? What happens in that point? Meanwhile, you've got other buyers that want to buy houses with you that are $250, $300, and so on, right? So what do? Do you not work with the people that are buying houses that are $80 or $100? Do we not represent people like that? I don't think it's fair. But what you can do is you can utilize the buyer's agreement to state that my minimum commission that I need for representing someone is X, whether it be $5,000, $6,000, whatever it is that you guys feel it needs to be, and you explain to your client that, look, no one's going to want to work with you. I will take my time and I will show you homes, but I will not do it for a lesser amount, because I still, at the end of the day, I have my obligations to do. I have my family, I have my bills, I have my licensing, I have all these things. So I'll help you buy a $100,000 house, but whatever the seller is crediting you as a buyer with commission, whether it's I find you a house for $100,000 and the seller's paying 3%, then that means that I'm getting $3,000 from the seller. But at the time of closing, you're still on the hook for the other two. So the buyer will have to come to the closing as well with $2,000. And what you need to do, and I'm glad Manny's here, is that you need to disclose that to your lender, if that person is getting a loan, immediately so they can disclose it. Because if they don't disclose it and it shows up on the HUD, that throws them off. And then what that's going to do is going to throw them into, it could throw them into high costs, and it could throw them into disclosing the loan altogether. Because you want to get paid on the HUD. You know, if you don't get paid on the HUD, you're just trusting somebody to bring a check to the office for your consulting fees. So, you know, it's a little risky. Can it be done? Absolutely, because we are able to charge people for consulting, but we want to make sure we can get paid on the HUD whenever we can. Manny, can you say anything about
Yeah, you add that to the back of your contract, where you have like a...
provisional conditions?
Yeah, if you have any provisional conditions, like if the buyer has a contingency, you would add at the back of the contract, buyer to pay Culture Estate an additional $2,000 or whatever the difference is. And as long as it's on the contract, you're fine. At that point, the buyer has to pay it, and it's attached to the CDs, the closing disclosures.
Okay. Okay, everyone understand that? Oh.